asshole. My sweet little asshole. It's festered and infected with lesions. I have anal contusions. It all happened when I fell down the stairs onto the stool's leg.
What are you saying?
Huh? Nothing. Unfiltered.
I wonder if I could try to like sit up and do this. You can lay down if you want.
I feel like if I lay down, I'm gonna have a lot of issues.
We've laid down the last 2 podcasts.
No, I'm gonna have issues this time because I didn't sleep as much.
Oh, because you're tired? I don't know how you sleep with the fucking little bit of sleep you have.
I generally don't. Usually I sleep like 11 hours. But sometimes I'll just sleep like 4 or 5 and then I feel like shit.
Yeah, but I sleep a solid 8 every day without fail. Never wavering, never faltering, never giving up, never backing down.
2 shots, 2 opportunities.
There was this old joke we used to have. Where, like how some metal bands will try to be like real hardcore and like, like fucking Deceiver. But like, they always have to have like a one line. But you just have a series of words for the album, like, all different, all the same theme. Like if the album was called Deceiver, like Word Alive, every song would be something based around that. So it'd be like Deceiver, Liar,
Betrayer,
Faker. Like,
I don't know why you're laughing right now, though.
I just think that's so funny.
That they do that?
It's like someone did that. Yeah, I think it's funny when they do like, like, you fucking lied to me and you'll never tell the truth. Like, it's like, do you really have to write a song about lying? I'd be surprised if someone was so affected by lying that they had to write a song about it. Because I get that, like, you meet people who are, like, full of shit. But the fact that you had to make a song and the chorus is about lying, it just seems kind of silly. Maybe not. But it's like, I don't know.
So like you're.
But I like the idea of a bunch of synonyms.
Yeah, you're just reiterating the same thing throughout the song.
It's the same. It's basically the same song all throughout the album, written with different breakdowns, different choruses, but it's all generally saying the same thing. Like, like the Deceiver one might be a heavier song. It's like, you fucking Deceiver! And then they're like, Deceiver! In the background, right? But like, but then the other one, yeah, but the other one might be like Faker, and he's like, you fucking faker! And like, but they're always saying the same, it's the same message throughout the whole album.
Imagine, like a song that's just the 5 minutes of you getting up in the morning and going to your car to go to the grocery store. I almost said food library.
That's exactly what the food store is, though. The food library.
The food store, yeah. The food library.
Or the grocery store is a food library.
Yeah.
But you're not bringing it back. So it's more like a food bookstore. So then it's just a grocery store.
Some people bring it back. Some people will bring back that head of broccoli that they get.
I brought back one food ever, and it was like almond butter that had way too much like oil, and it was really... No. It was sunflower seed butter. And I bought that back, and I was like, this is disgusting. I had someone recommend this to me in the aisle, and I hated it. And they're like, what made it so bad? I was like, it was all salt. Like, there's no diffuser. It was all salt in a butter form. It was terrible. And it was awful. Yeah, don't have fucking sunflower seed butter. I don't know who the fuck eats that kind of stuff. I had almond butter. I love almond butter because it's like that a bland peanut butter.
That stuff.
That guy was really enthusiastic. He was like, you're having almond butter? Next level with sunflowers. He must have, like, he must not be able to shit, or he's really buoyant in water. Like, there's too much salt in that shit, son.
What if, oh man, I feel like there's 2 roads here for this. It's
I'm already trying to lay down. Like, I'm already getting, like, in a position where I'm like, I think I want to lay down instead.
It's either he is very positive about it because he has to be, otherwise he would never fucking eat it.
What if he was like one of the co-founders?
Yeah, well, okay, that's the third possibility actually. Another possibility is he just wanted to fucking ruin your day.
Yeah,
And he was in there. He was
he's
like,
just
I'm gonna look for
causing
a
chaos.
motherfucker eating fucking almond butter. I'm gonna recommend them sunflower seed
What if
butter.
Yeah, and then I go home, I eat that, and then I'm really pissed off, and then I go to my recording studio and I'm like, you fucking lied to me.
That's probably why they wrote that song.
Yeah.
When you hear that song right after you're bringing that that fucking sunflower seed butter back, and you're like, it happened to them too.
Yeah,
Fuck.
yeah,
It happened to them too. Somebody's out there, a serial lying fucking
sunflower
seed.
butterier.
Yeah, peddler.
Peddler. Yeah, he might have worked for the company and was just like really dead set on getting me to eat some fucking fun. What did you want to talk about today? You wanted to talk about
Video games. Dude.
Yeah, you felt like you had like a grudge or something you had that you just had to like get out.
So I guess like it's all like it's like a big even field of like issues. Nothing like sticking out where I want to jump in. So I guess I'll just jump into the first thing I think of, and that's I think game developers are getting fucking lazy.
Yeah. Think of like Assassin's Creed.
It's
Same
like a fucking
game
cash
every year.
grab these days, dude.
Yeah.
It sucks.
And I buy into it too. I fucking bought a pixelated gun in Call of Duty. I'm like, fuck, $15 down the drain. Not down the drain. I really like the way it looks, but I definitely blew it on that one.
I think the stuff in Call of Duty, like all the
it's kind
like
of fair
costume stuff.
because like Warzone's free, so if you're only playing Warzone, no big deal. Spend $15 on a free game. It's one thing if you buy a $40 game like I did. What was the $60 game I got for $40? And then I blow like 15 extra bucks on it, $20 there, $15 here, $10 here, $100 later. I spent $100 on it.
I'm talking about like, mobile games have like kind of moved to consoles at this point.
Like the concept.
It's quick, easy games to jump into. They hand you everything. There's no challenge to it whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's all quick, little, instant gratification. But they slap a stamina meter on it. So once it runs out, you're like, fuck. Well, I could keep going, but I need stamina. But I need fucking gems to get stamina. So I'll just buy some gems. That's cool. And it's
Is that a specific game that you're talking about?
Dude, it's like 90% of like all RPG. Well, I don't know RPG. Any like most games are like collectible kind of games that I play anyway. But like I don't know if I could ever recommend to you a game that doesn't have a stamina meter on it, and it's so frustrating. Why would you ever, other than for monetary reasons? Or if you are just genuinely like as a developer, like you care about people's like mental health and you want them to stop playing sometimes, like why would you ever put a stamina meter on if you're not concerned about money?
Could you define stamina meter? Because when I think stamina meter, I think Dark Souls. There's a health meter and a stamina meter beneath it.
Nah, dude.
With where you like comes back automatically.
It's not in-game stamina.
Okay.
It's real life stamina.
Okay.
So you log into a game. You log into fucking Sword and fucking Monster, right? It's a fake. I don't know if that's a real thing. But, like, you get on there, and you're like, alright, dude, I got my main character. I got him all set up with shit. I'm going to run this fucking instance over here because it has some drops that I need. Or I'm going to do the next, like, story quest, right? I click on it. My dude's fighting some other fucking monsters. And it's like, sweet. It's done. I won. I get my fucking treasure and shit. But that quest costs 12 stamina. 12 of my 60 stamina. That shit recharges one per, like, 30 minutes, right? So I can only do that 5 times, like, really quickly.
So, like, something to, like, mitigate the amount of time you spend in the app to come back later to play more of it?
Kind of. So, like, that's why I say it's either a cash grab, because you can always spend that premium currency on stamina.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah, because I remember Candy Crush had a thing where it's like if you die like an X amount of times, something like that. Like if you couldn't beat the level 3 times, you'd run out of like chances, and then you could buy extra chances to like try the levels again, or you could wait 24 hours and then it'll like you'll basically be able to play it again tomorrow.
Yeah, and it's
with like 3 lives or whatever.
My understanding on it is it's so much more likely that it's all a cash grab. It's very easy to do that. People like it, like that little instant gratification, and they're willing to spend on it to like keep that going.
But you've seen that in a console game?
Yes.
What
Dude,
game?
oh man.
Because I can only think of like fucking mobile games, which are just, of course, like a little cash grab.
Yeah.
So many of them.
Fuck. I couldn't tell you right now. I know Kaylee and one of my roommates have started playing Genshin Impact.
Yeah, there's someone. It's like an anime game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that game was out on mobile as well. So I'm assuming it operates and is probably the same way, where there's a gacha system, probably some sort of stamina. I don't know for sure. I haven't played.
But isn't gacha like illegal in a lot of places? Like in Japan, it's illegal.
It is. I think there's
North
very
Korea,
like
it's not
specific ways that it's okay.
South Korea. No, nothing. Everything's legal in North Korea.
I think they're okay generally, because it's not considered gambling as much if they tell you exactly what the chances are for each thing. So on any like gacha system, like I play a game right now called Last Claudia, and it's like very Square Enix-y kind of stuff. But they have a gacha system, and when you go into the gacha system, there's a button that says probability on it. You click that, and it gives you a big ass list of here, this unit, you could get it at a 0.01888% chance. This thing you can get at like a 0.8% chance. It's very easy to get it.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like a huge fucking
That's why I stopped buying like packs of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Like a couple weeks ago, it was like the raw legendary duelist pack.
Nice.
And then I was like, oh fuck yeah. And then I was doing some research on it, and they were like, you can get a ghost rare raw in it. And I was like, oh my god, that'd be so sick. I bought a pack. It was all faded, mostly vanilla cards. And I was like, I've never bought a pack. I have not bought a pack all year that was all just faded vanilla cards. But you know what? The probability of like getting the ghost rare raw is probably so ridiculously low that if I were to steal 100 of these, I would probably not get a single ghost rare raw. So there's like no point in buying a $4 pack to get a bunch of vanillas, when realistically you could buy that ghost rare raw later, or you could fucking just deal with your life without it.
Yeah.
The $4 was kind of a waste to me. Was definitely a waste. 100%. There was no card out of there that I wanted.
Yep. But that's
and it came with like 9 cards. So
that's one of my big grievances, is that it's so easy to put in these cash grabs that the quality of the games have tanked considerably. I go on big sprees where I want to find a game that fills a niche, which isn't that hard. Usually it's a team-based game where I have like a few units. Too close. I have a few units, somewhere between 3 and 4.
There you
go. Or 3 and 6 rather. And I can set them up in a way where I can work with them strategically, not just put them out on a field and they'll act the same way every single time.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Without, like I played. There's a Final Fantasy game on mobile. Final Fantasy Brave X.
Oh yeah, Brave Exvius or something like that.
Yeah. But when I was playing that, I was like, damn, this is a good game. But there's absolutely no variability to it. There's not very much chance for things. So when I run a dungeon like 5 times, I'll just sit on auto and sit there and watch it. Everything acts the exact same way. The AI works the exact same way when I hit something.
Which is not normal for Final Fantasy. Like, if you play an old Final Fantasy, bro, you can have, like, one playthrough with the same dudes. You go into a dungeon, and you'll get fucked up from, like, some fucking jellies and, like, some little green tentacle dudes with eyeballs. And then the next time, you go back through there, and it's just, like, hordes of goblins. You're like, motherfucker, dude. It's, like, so different.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then on the way there, you might hit nothing. And then on the way out, you might hit everything. And then fucking lose all your stuff, and you didn't get a save.
Yeah.
So, shit happens.
I remember games of old. I used to play Golden Sun on my Game Boy. And that game was, like, there was a lot of variability to it. So much so that I could go against the boss like 7 times, like a really hard boss, like the fucking like Blackbeard at the bottom of fucking Crossbone Isles, which is like a secret area in the game you have to get to, and it's like crazy fucking hard to do. And I'd fight him like 7 times, and I'd get the shit kicked out of me every time. But that one time when the stars fucking aligned, and I'm like, I planned this out meticulously.
Yeah.
All right, he used this fucking shit. I'm gonna buff everybody. I'm gonna use this turn. I'm gonna use this opportunity to buff everybody. And then next time he uses like something that buffs him instead of attacking me and taking me out. I'm like, you just activated my trap card, dog.
Yeah.
Like, and you can play this stuff strategically, and it doesn't have to play out the same way every time.
Yeah.
Like, there's like specific variations of enemy encounters that will drop specific things. Like, if you fight a Chimera with like two other of a certain kind of enemy, that instance itself has a chance to drop a specific sword. So you have to go hunting for it. Like little details like that stuff is just being lost nowadays because it's so much easier to have something that's like predictable and rewarding immediately. I feel like it's a art that's slowly dying. Also, I think when it comes to graphics, people like graphics have got to a point where I don't think they deserve as much merit as they get. Like somebody's like, "Oh, dude, this game looks so good." It's like,
are so good. Yeah, but like there's not a lot of change in graphics lately. I think lighting is kind of a big thing right now. That was kind of one of the bigger displays when they were showing the PS5 was the lighting.
Mm-hmm.
They weren't like, dude, the graphics are sick. They were like, no, lighting, like the functionality of the environment is a little more important. So they played that up, which I think is true because you look at like Cyberpunk, like the game doesn't look any better than fucking Final Fantasy 15, but the lighting looks really good, and like the way that they handle darks is really nice, and like it functions more realistically. And like Tomb Raider, like the new Tomb Raiders aren't any better in terms of graphics from like the second new generation Tomb Raider, the Rise of Tomb Raider, but the lighting looked a lot better. So there's like little things like that. But I agree that like fucking graphics don't mean anything. Two things don't mean anything to me anymore: open world and graphics. Because every game is kind of open world anyways, and most of them are full of boring, unnecessary shit to do, and it doesn't like play back in a storyline.
It was fun back in the days of like Oblivion and stuff where you're like, dude, I could do anything. But now it's like, oh great, I could do anything.
Kinda, yeah. The idea that Skyrim's storyline is like maybe 3 hours long, but then like the game itself is like super expansive is kind of lame to me now. But back then I was like, I love this, I can just play with this forever. But like the idea that I'm like, I already did the storyline. Breath of the Wild's kind of the same way, where it's like you can do so much shit, do a ton of unlockables, there's a lot of fun stuff you can do, there's a lot of stuff to explore, but the actual story is an hour long. You like grab the parasol, go defeat Ganon, you can defeat him right then if you're really fucking good. And then, or you go to those 4 little corners, watch, 5-minute cutscenes, and then Zelda complains, and then you beat the final boss, which is very easy, and then you beat the game. But doing all the stuff in between is like more like filler content in a way.
Yeah.
I'd like to see more. Like, okay, so the big problem with the latest Final Fantasy iterations is that there is a lack of genuine story, and I think that's kind of playing back into the, hey look, we made Final Fantasy 15 where you have a car and you can go anywhere, and like the dungeons are really cool looking, and like the music is what Final Fantasy-esque, it's always the same, but the thing with that, there just wasn't like a fucking amazing storyline. The best part were your friends, and they didn't really play on that until they did like the DLCs, and they were like, oh oops, episode Noctis, episode fucking Ignis, whoops. And then you just started like realizing what people really wanted. Maybe my problem is, I guess, all of those things, and I'm grateful for whatever we get, of course, but I think they always want to okay, so remember back in the day when Mario 64 came out, Sunshine, Star Fox, whatever. Fucking,
I didn't play those games, but yeah, I know.
Star Fox is the shit, though. Not Adventures, that's a terrible game, but Assault was the shit. It looked really fucking cool. Then now you come back and it's all the same missions. Anyways, that's not the point. It looked really good for the game. But, okay, so let's scrap Star Fox. Zelda, you play Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, fucking Skyward Sword, the list goes on. The good thing about those games is that if you look at like the history of when those were coming out and stuff, watch like video game history, there's a ton of YouTube videos that like there's specific channels that do work on that. And it'll show like all this dedication, all this shit where it's like, hey, look, we really want to make this game amazing. We're going to put it out next year. Next year comes around, they're like, look, we're really sorry. We want it out next year or this year, but I don't think it's going to happen. If it does, it'll be in the fall. We're really trying our best, but we want the best game for you, right? Mm-hmm. Then they release it. And because it's not connected to the internet, there's no updates. This is the game. There's no patches. You're just going to have to deal with whatever we give you.
Yeah.
And that sense of permanence for the developers made it so that they had to perfect the game. They had to make it like excellent the way it was. And if it wasn't, the sequel would be better. So when you look at like Ocarina of Time, excellent game. Excellent game that had like excellent everything. They had like the right amount of story, the right amount of like these like hard punches, like a great exploration. It was like small, but there was stuff in there. There was like quests to do that contributed to the story or contributed to your character specifically getting more powerful. Like the Bogoron sword was fun and it was like unique and blah, blah. And they utilized the mechanics, right? And then Majora's Mask was literally the exact same formula, but now Link can do a fucking front flip and time is resettable, right? So, my point is that sense of permanence creates a sense or a need to perform. So, like,
you got one shot at this.
So think of it like you're in your own life, right? Like you as Errin, me as Ronnie, we're gonna die. Duh, we're all gonna die. Newsflash. But that's fuck, bro. It's the first time I'm hearing that. So the sense of permanence, the sense of inevitability that you're gonna die, gives you a sense of drive. It forces you to do things with your life. Think of an elf in like medieval. Every fucking elf in every fucking medieval setting or any fantasy setting that has elves, they're always lazy because they have the longest lifespans. They can do whatever they want, and according to like the Dragonlance world, or even the Forgotten Realms world with Drizzt, they live so long that either they are killed or they die of old age before they make a move to do something. Like a lot of times, like, oh, I want to get involved in this, but we should talk about it. We'll go to the council. We'll make a meeting. We'll fucking discuss it there. We'll have some dinner, blah, blah. But they do all this shit in between, so nothing ever happens. Yeah. But they always display the humans who have a very short lifespan knocking shit out. Yeah,
just acting. Like, it's like, oh, shit's going down. I'm going to go, hey, guys, we got to go do this. Anybody with me? No, I'm going to go do it. Hang on. Okay,
yeah. Like, if you're not going to do it, I'm going to do it. So, like, there are men of action, men and women of action. So they'll go out and they'll fight the wars, and then the elves just watch by because they're like, oh, I mean, we'll see what happens. Maybe, you know.
Impulsive humans.
And so that sense of, there's no drive. There's no, like, fire under the ass that, like, pushes someone forward. And I think so we're coming full circle. The thing that with video games is kind of the same way.
They're made by elves.
Shut up. There's this lack of, there's this sense of like, fuck it, put the game out because we'll just make patches. Fuck it, we'll put the game out and we'll add it later. Fuck it, we'll put the game out DLC for like in the fall. Fuck it, we'll put the game out and we'll add some skins to it. And that is a little scary because meanwhile with the PS3 era, all you could really do was make patches. And at that time, they were still releasing discs and stuff. And then digital DLC was kind of a new thing. It definitely was a new thing. And some of the first iterations of like physical DLC were like, I think Saints Row did it. And Resident Evil might have been one of the earliest ones with like Outbreak. And they did Outbreak File 2 that was supposed to kind of be like a DLC to like the first Resident Evil. And, I'm sure there was something on like the fucking Dreamcast or whatever who wanted to do stuff like that. But that sense of like, hey, I could just fix it later, makes it seem like, I mean, think of like a mechanic saying like that, like, we'll just fix it later.
Yeah, it's like, it's workable now.
Yeah.
Kind of. But if anything bad happens, let me know, and we'll see if we can get it fixed at some point.
Yeah, no, fix it all now. I want nothing coming later. I don't want to see, like, Fall Guys. Like, I hear people talk about Fall Guys, and I'm like, I can't play this game because the mechanics are so shitty. And they're like, well, they might put patches later. Like, no, they should have had people play this fucking game, go, hey, these mechanics are ass. And they're like, okay, what's wrong with it? Here's a poll. Take the poll, take it into consideration, fix the game. Then put it out. But I think that's kind of the big fault in the stars right now. Everybody is doing that because nobody has this sense of like, I need to complete this and make it perfect. And the only people, and I'm going to say it, and you're not going to like it, but the only people who give a fucking damn is Nintendo. They care so much about making the most perfect version of a game. They won't put shit out. They're like, you want Zelda? We do too. We're going to make it perfect. I'm really sorry. We're going to hold off. So, Metroid Prime 4, they released a small clip 2 years ago. And you're like, oh my God, Metroid Prime 4? And that's it. And they're like, sorry, we're going to get back to you. But we're still working on it. Hold off. If you die before it happens, you'll reincarnate when it's still around. If you're on this planet. I don't know. But you know what? The other reality of you is still not dead, and that one's going to play it. So don't feel too bad. You're going to play it at some point in some version of yourself. And if you're connected to everybody, then you're going to play it anyways. So just don't be a little bitch about it. Can you imagine like a game developer saying that and someone's like,
don't worry, what? Like we're about like 85 years out. It's like, I'm going to be dead, bro. It's like, don't worry, you're going to reincarnate.
Yeah. If you said all that stuff, that'd be really kind of strange and confusing. You're like, well, what do you know that we don't know? Yeah, but does that make sense? I think that's probably the overall issue with games.
I think a lot of people impermanence. Hold that same belief, but I think people are when I say people, I just mean a lot of people online who are very vocal about it, are very damn, I don't know the word for this. They feel like everything has always been done this way. It's one and done. That's what it is. And we're in a transitory state right now, where we're between when we put out a game, it has to be solid and work. And if there's bugs in it, they were so deep in there that we couldn't have found them anyways.
Yeah.
And we're at this point now where it's like, okay, we're gonna release a game into early access, which is it's beta. It's pretty much just open beta. Nobody calls it that anymore, but that's what it is. Early access is just open beta. We're going to release these games into early access, and then everybody's going to buy our game, which funds us to keep working on the game, and then they're all beta testers, like, for free. Actually, no, not for free. They're beta testers that have paid us to play the game, and we're just going to work on it like that, like a cycle like that. And a lot of times it doesn't go well. I don't think there's anybody who's perfected it yet. I have an unpopular opinion where I think Ark Survival Evolved, buggy as shit when it first came out. Really fucking like weird. But they released it in beta. It was in beta. It was open beta when you first started playing it. And they were very clear about that. Like, hey, this game's still in progress. We're still going to be adding things. Like, we've polished off the main parts of the game. We've, there's options that you can turn on and off to let you, like, if your friends want to dig a basin underneath the ground so they can never get attacked by anything above ground, like, that's fine. You can turn on that option. If not, we have a patch. We have a little toggle switch. You flip that on. Nobody can do it now. You can't build into the earth and cheese yourself away from all the enemies. Like, they polished off most of the game, and then they kept it in early access because they were like, all right, we're still going to be releasing patches, adding new content to the game. So we're going to add new dinosaurs. We're going to add new items, new things to work around with, new things to play with. We're going to release and then at some point they released DLCs, which were Scorched Earth. Scorched Earth was the first one, and it was just like a completely new map. And people got really fucking upset, and they were like, "Bro, why are you releasing a DLC for a game that isn't even finished?" It's like, dude, they've already told you. Like, if you pay attention at all, they've completed the base game. They're adding to the game. This is a DLC. They just have the early access on there because they want you to know that they're still adding stuff to it. Like, they handled it really well. Even when they released DLCs, they would make a free-to-play, like a base game map, like a new map that incorporated stuff from the DLCs. Not everything, but they incorporated it so people who just had the base game could still play it, kind of. Not to the same extent as paying for a whole new map, but a new map that had the gist of it. But people give it a really bad reputation because it's always in beta. It's constantly in beta. And they're trying to make you pay for DLCs for a beta game. It's like, I think that's a very, I think a lot of people can't take themselves out of, the game says it's not finished, but you're trying to make us pay for more, but it's not finished, but you're trying to make us pay for the DLCs. There's DLCs, but it's not finished. What's going on?
Yeah,
like,
I think
people are very privileged, I guess.
I think I get it, but also if it didn't have the word beta on it, then, or like early access, no one would give a damn because every game is being worked on all the time. Every current game is getting patches and like, bugs and fixes all the time unless stated otherwise. Like old Demon Souls was like, look, sorry guys, we're just done working on the game. And then that's how I knew they were making a fucking remake. I was like, ooh, I fucking know you're going to do that for the PS5, and they did. So, yeah, I think if they took away the word beta or early access, I think people would stop complaining. There are going to be updates and shit to every game. And they're like, especially big exploration games like No Man's Sky or whatever. It's like, you made fixes. Like, it's huge. You got to put new shit out. And that's probably a good thing for big open world games.
Yeah,
like now this is explorable or whatever.
Either they're going to have to stop calling things early access and beta because people can't handle it, or people are going to have to change. The easier of those two options is they're just going to have to change how they refer to their games.
Yeah, because calling it beta makes it sound like it's incomplete. Like, incomplete before...
In the most technical sense, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
But people don't see it as that, yeah.
Yeah, and then early access makes it sounds like the game isn't really out.
Yeah.
That's what I think when I hear early access. Like, you can play fucking Call of Duty Cold War early access. I'm like, oh, so the game isn't out yet for $60. It's only early access.
Yeah.
But the fact that it's like downloadable and that's the full game, like almost like contradicts it, because you're like early access. I mean, like early to what? Because what's current access?
Yeah.
What's later access? Like, is there, or is it always just this? They probably just need to change the name of it.
Yeah,
like in progress.
There's a lot of terminology that's used that people already have meanings for that aren't what the game developers are meaning for.
Yeah.
I like almost had to burp, but then it just like sat in my throat for a second, and then I couldn't talk.
So what's your other beef?
My other beef is oh shit. So this whole dime a dozen mentality for games. There can be I've played like Kingdom games, right? Like the ones where you get a spot on a giant ass map in a server and you build up your kingdom, you have resources, you send out troops to gather resources from different nodes on the map. You can like build up armies, make little hives with all of your guild mates or whatever, clan system, tribe, whatever. And like those games can be fun, but they're a dime a fucking dozen. They're everywhere, and they're all dominated by pay to win. Like you just get like 2-3 whales in there. Dude, I started playing it was a Warhammer version of it. Warhammer, like an old school Warhammer one, not 40K, I don't think. But it was a Warhammer version of it. And I sat there and waited. I was like, all right, I'm watching the fucking timer for this shit. I'm going to get in there. I'm going to wreck some shit because I want to be competitive in this server because I was dropping a new server. And I was like, I'm getting in there. I'm starting to get to work fast. I'm building up my shit. I can see people around me fucking doing stuff, and I'm way ahead of them right now because I'm micromanaging myself. This is sweet. I'm competitive right now. Then I joined a guild. My guild was sick as fuck. We were overcompensating. Like, that was the
Oh yeah, that was the guild name.
That was the original guild name. I was wrecking it on like recruiting people. We were super stringent about activity. So if somebody wasn't active for 2 days, like, we would cut them. And we let everybody know as soon as they got in, like, hey, if you're not active for a couple days, because this is a new server, we understand you're just trying it out. If you decide you don't want to play, like, if you're not invested enough to log on, like, in 2 days, we're going to cut you because we're trying to stay competitive.
Yeah.
And everybody was like, yeah, that's cool. So we kept the guild full. We kept everybody active. Then, like, you get, like, somebody who joins, like, a weekend, and they're like, oh, I got a ton of money to spend. And they just fucking surpass you, like, so quick. And it's so demoralizing. And there's, like, a million of these games. A million of them. There's not one that's just skill-based and not, like, who has the bigger wallet. And they're all rip-offs of each other. And I don't understand, like, they're all just reskins of each other. There's no new mechanics. There's no new anything. It's not just Kingdom games. It's fucking card games. It's goddamn, like, the Clash of Clans. It's fucking even the, like, puzzle pop games, like, what are they fucking called? The match 3 games. It's all those games. They're just dime a dozen. It doesn't feel like anything's coming out that's, like, revolutionary at all. Like, the one thing that came out that, like, everybody can say was, like, Flappy Bird. There wasn't, like, very much Flappy Bird shit on the market. That was just a dumb little fucking game.
Yeah.
But there was, like, it was, like, revolutionary first time. I was like, oh, fuck, dude. Like, this is somehow, like, entertaining to everybody. And it's making a shit ton of money. And then everybody jumps in to capitalize on it. And there's, like, a million different Flappy Bird games.
Yeah.
Like, right after. Nobody can come up with their own thing.
But so
frustrating.
It is. So there's a economic strategy that's called, I think it's something like the rule of borrowing or something like that. And even artists do it too. It's stealing like an artist or something like that. So we'll start with the one and then we'll move to the other. First, the economic version is basically like when someone comes up with a successful idea, copy the idea and make it better. Now you make more money, and then people liked it in the beginning. You know it works, but now you've made a better version. So,
They're skipping
pain
out on that
medicine.
last part.
You make pain medicine that works well. Okay, make pain medicine with sinus medicine. You combine them together, and now they do both because everyone who has the flu also is in pain.
Yeah.
So now you have both. Boom, slam. Okay, you make Flappy Bird. Okay, well, how about you make Flappy Bird where you have different skins? Boom, evolved. Okay, well, you make another one where there's different levels. Okay, boom, that guy capitalized on the guy previously. There's been 3 dudes already at this point who's made a version of Flappy Bird. The Kingdom games are exactly that same way, but now they have farming, and now you got to keep up with the peasants, and now the peasants have like their own role in it, and you're not just making like army men and then castle walls. Now you got farming and peasant bullshit to deal with. Boom, that guy capitalized on the other one. So you are making more money because you know one thing works, the formula works, and now you've just moved on to making something else.
I could understand that part of it if there was meaningful like if you could point to anything that was improved upon in different iterations of the games. Most of these games I play are just direct like reskins of each other.
Yeah, and a lot of times they look really similar.
Yeah,
like the visuals. Yeah, and they might even be the same fucking company for all you know.
It seems like it sometimes.
Yeah,
that's
what is it, Clash of Clans, and then it's like
thing.
Clash of Kingdoms, but it's like the same fucking,
if
like
I were to play,
same dude in the thumbnail or whatever.
If I were to play, because I think I played Fire Age or Age of Fire Origins or something like that. It was a Kingdom game. That game I played like 4 or 5 years ago, maybe. Warhammer I played like last year. There was no difference other than the theme of the game. Mm-hmm. They had the same like items for speeding up different timers. They had the same items for fucking like masquerading troops. They had the same items that you needed to like upgrade the fucking once you get to a certain level and upgrading your buildings, they require fucking materials to do it. And there was no difference. There was nothing. They had the same guild chats. They had the same everything. It was just a direct reskin. And I guess if you're a Warhammer fan, great. It's better than playing fucking Age of Fire, where you don't care about that at all, and you can get a little lore behind some of the Warhammer stuff. You can play as your favorite faction, but like as somebody who doesn't care like about that, like it was just I might as well have been playing Age of Fire, and it's demoralizing because I really look for games. I really look for them, and it sucks to find the same games over and over and over.
Yeah.
And I think I cut you off before you said something about the artists.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, that's essentially the same thing. I think the stealing as an artist thing is more what you want. Where
it's all derivative. It's fine.
The stealing as an artist would be like you also are interested in surrealism. So you're gonna look at Salvador Dali, who's like fucking cornerstone of surrealism, right? And then you look at his work. You might even practice his work. It's actually kind of recommended that you practice if you like his painting style. You do his painting style and you look at how he was doing it. Check out his brushstrokes. Maybe even recreate some drawings, not for resale, but for yourself, right? You do a study on how he did it, and you see his brushstrokes and stuff. So when you do that, you have now learned some techniques out of that. Mm-hmm. Now, steal as an artist. Take those techniques and make them and mold them into your own interests. Like, well, you're into surrealism. What experiences are you going through? Like, oh, I'm really suicidal. I have a lot of crazy dreams, whatever. Well, you know that Salvador Dali did stuff about dreams, but he also did these kind of like in between dreams where he would have something in his hand, and then when he was starting to fall asleep, he would drop it, and then he would kind of paint whatever was in that weird state of mind, right? Just before he falls asleep. Mm-hmm. So, you know, your own experiences are going to be different anyways. Yeah. So if you just kind of incorporate your way or your dreams or your ideas or your ideals or your morals or your ethics all into your paintings, but you're using the painting techniques that Salvador Dali used, but your own art style, and now you're unique. So you're stealing like an artist, where you look at someone you're inspired by, you kind of recreate that, and then you build, and then you make it your own.
Yeah.
That's probably how that should be done in terms of like video game making or making like new versions of something like the Clash of Clans or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, you know, a Mega Man game. You know, the revamp, the better version of that is like Shovel Knight. It's still a platformer, but it's like, you know, we took some of these elements of shooting and stuff. We made it way better, way, way more fun. And then we made like the music is just the same par of excellence. Like, because Mega Man music is fucking iconic, but then Shovel Knight music is also like super fucking iconic. So they kept a lot of the same kind of feelings, but they made it better. And then Hollow Knight, like, what's the revamp of that? Is like a cartoony version. It's more drawn looking. Okay, and then the revamp of that, fucking Cuphead. It's okay, well, let's do it in 1940s. We're gonna hand draw everything, but it's gonna be a bullet hell platformer. So you're stealing like an artist. And then you make something super unique, but we've played bullet hells and platformers before. So we're already introduced to two things. You have two audiences already. Yeah. But no one has any idea what a Cuphead is, and no one lived in the 40s who is still alive, really, who's playing video games.
It's the difference of seeing an idea and being like, damn, we can make a lot of money on that. Let's just remake it.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's kind of what, like,
and damn, I really liked this game. I'm gonna reimagine it.
Yes. So yeah. That's like making it's like making an acoustic album versus making a remake album. So like Hands Like Houses has done there's an album called Unimagined, and that's the first album, and the second album, which is the first album's remake, is called Reimagine, I think. So Unimagine, Reimagine. I think that's what it's called. But one is just the regular like guitar, drums, vocals, etc. Mm-hmm. And then the Reimagine one is completely deconstructed and reconstructed to have the same lyrics, kind of the same, maybe in the same key, but they're not just acoustic anymore. They might have like all these new synth elements, like change in melodies. They'll slow things down. They'll add new like instruments and stuff. And that's like a remake. Or like Resident Evil 2 or Resident Evil 3's most recent remakes are legitimate remakes. Mm-hmm. Unlike Prince of Persia's remaster or Uncharted's remaster. It's like you're getting money off of something you know has already made money.
Yeah.
So that does feel cheap and filthy. Demon Souls would be like a full remake, like brand new graphics, brand new mechanics, new like running around, like the way like the body feels and stuff should.
Yeah.
And I really hope
different
that it's going to have like the 360 rolls instead of directional rolls, and they'll kind of work some of those kinks out, and you fix the problems with like. And Demon Souls is like a fucking perfect game, anyways. Besides the lag and the fucking some of the stupid shit that happens. So if you fix those things, I think we would be happy anyways. But they're doing a full remake. It's like it's putting in like a sense of effort versus like lazily, like coming back full circle when you said like video game developers are fucking lazy now. I think it's lazy for anyone who's making new content. So I think help me out, movies. I think movies are super duper lazy. There's almost no movie that has come out in the past 3 years that I give a damn about. There's like almost nothing where I'm like, man, I gotta see that. Like,
I find things so predictable now.
It is. And Kaylee was watching a movie with me the other day, and at the very beginning of the movie, she said, "This is gonna happen," and I was like, "Really?" And she goes, "Watch, it's gonna happen for real." Got maybe an extra 40 minutes in, and I was like, "Oh my god, she's so right." And then at the end of the movie, it came full circle perfectly with what she said in the first 15 minutes of the movie. That shouldn't happen with movies, but it does. And movies are either predictable or they're a remake. Like, let's do Friday the 13th again.
Yeah,
it's like,
right.
okay, I guess, because people are fans of Friday the 13th. They're going to come back and watch it. You're going to make money. It doesn't matter how much money because the budget's really low for horror movies. So it is really frustrating. There's some small movies like Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was really fucking badass and was unique, super rewatchable because it was like a nice slow movie that came out. I mean, I liked Endgame, but you knew that the heroes win. They're gonna win because they lost the first time, and you probably didn't know the first time you watched that Avengers movie, whatever the War of fucking whatever, that they were gonna lose.
Infinity War. Yeah,
there you go. So Infinity War, you weren't 100% sure they're gonna lose because you didn't know there was gonna be a second
about
movie.
it.
Yeah, you didn't know there'd be a second movie, but then they lose. Cliffhanger, you know there's gonna be a second movie. Second movie, you know they're gonna win. That's kind of the only predictable thing. And then we all speculated who was gonna die, and we're like, oh man, I mean, I've been wanting this to happen for a long time. I hope it's fucking Iron Man, even though I
fucking hope Spider-Man dies.
yeah, like he did in the first one. So, and that was unexpected for me. I didn't think Spider-Man was gonna die, and then when he did the snap, he did, and I was like, oh no, I'm upset.
Spider-Man's like one of your favorite, huh?
Yeah, you can look up at the shelf. I got 3 fucking sweet statues right there.
Didn't you propose to your wife?
No.
I thought you were as Spider-Man in one of those.
No, I was Link.
Oh.
And she was Zelda. That's how fucking into Zelda
I am. That's right. I remember that.
I'm not into Zelda nearly as much as I used to be, but I still revere it as one of the best games of all time. The series even, and everything they do is usually awesome. I didn't like Link's Awakening recently, but they kept in all the bullshit.
Is it the remake of Link's Awakening?
Yeah, it looked amazing. It was like super beautiful looking and looked awesome on the Switch. Played really well, but they didn't take out any of the bullshit. They kept in all the annoying stuff like, hey, if you burn this bush, you'll find this thing. And it's like, great, how would I have known that? I had to you went back to the whole having to look shit up on Zelda guides to figure it out instead of building it with like fair mechanics. Like when they remade Majora's Mask, they made it so you could fast forward by the hour, which was amazing because before it was by every 6 hours or 8 hours. And then you had to wait, and you literally just waited, which was annoying. So, yeah. What's my point? I'm not as into Zelda as I was before. I mean, Dark Souls is still my favorite for sure. Demon Souls, Witcher are my game series. That have taken over, but I'm really into the books. I'm not just into fucking Witcher's fucking Witcher 3. Witcher 3 is awesome, but the books are amazing too.
My favorite series is the Witcher series. Like, oh, dude, what do you think of 1 and 6?
1 and 2.
I only played 3.
Oh yeah, okay, then shut the fuck up because that's it. And they're probably done. I don't think they're gonna do any more after 3. Geralt kind of retired at the end of 3, and Ciri's gone. So it's like, good, see ya. That's over. End it on a good note. It's okay. You don't have to do a 4th one. It's okay. No big deal. And they got the show The show is already done one season, which was really excellent, which was based off the first book.
Didn't the dude who played Superman play Geralt?
Yeah. Henry Cavill. Yeah, Cavill. Yeah, he played it. He was also in that stupid Mission Impossible movie I watched recently, Fallout. He wasn't serious in that either. That was kind of funny. That he was kind of like a goofy enemy. But they got one season. They got a confirmed second and third season coming, and they have a potential prequel that they're working on where they want the guy from Aquaman to play it. And I'm like, that would be tight because he looks like he's fucking old
Jason
as hell.
Momoa?
Yeah. They want his ass to play the first Witcher, which is cool because there's no lore on the first Witcher. So it'd be tight for them to see anyone besides Geralt. Because I didn't know this, but the Witcher's universe isn't Earth. And I feel like a lot of medieval places are just always Earth, but like older in like that time period. No, it's not Earth at all. And like humans were not from Earth, from their universe. They were from somewhere else. So like, yeah, they explain it in the beginning of The Witcher 3, but like really vaguely. I think in the origin show that they're gonna do, and it's something called like Blood Origins or some shit like that. But beginning, I hope they explain all the early Witcher stuff, which would be really nice.
What are you gonna do? And I've seen this in at the very least one game series that I know of, and it disappointed me. How would you feel if they came out with a fourth Witcher, but it was like the grandchildren? I hate that trope in
like
sequels.
Fire Emblem, where they try like making you care about like the side characters in the same game with like the main characters.
Yeah, one of my favorite games ever was Golden Sun. Golden Sun.
You keep bringing that up, but yeah.
And fucking the second Golden Sun, Lost Age or something. I forget what it was called. I haven't played it in forever. But then they came out with like after that, they didn't have any more on the Game Boy Advance.
It's for the Game Boy, right? Or the GameCube?
Game Boy Advance. No, they came out with one for the DS. And the one on the DS was their fucking kids. And I was like, ugh, dude, come on. Like, they were still young in the fucking... Like, they were, like, 16 years old tops.
Yeah,
like,
I think that's like making...
Game Boy games.
It's like making Family Guy and then making the Cleveland show. Where it's like, I didn't even like Cleveland to begin with. I never liked Cleveland. There's nothing wrong with him. He's just like a, like, now. He's just like a funny background character. That's like making a Joe Swanson show. It's like, he's kind of funny, and I actually would probably like that more because he's actually really funny with the whole, like, yeah, I think Joe's character is just more developed.
Oh, you're talking about in Family Guy.
In Family Guy, right.
You said Joe Swanson, and I was like, do you mean Ron Swanson?
No, Joe Swanson and Family Guy. So that's like making Family Guy and then Cleveland show. It's like, well, I didn't care about these side characters anyways, let alone someone who hasn't existed in the world at all yet. And then I'm like, oh, I'm supposed to give a damn? That's like, they did it with the Last of Us, where they like killed off Joel, and you're like, great. Awesome. I cared about a character and you're going to kill him, and now I have to care about somebody else. Like, you built up the whole first game about me caring about him. Of course I want to care more about him. Why wouldn't you? That's like having a girlfriend and then just fucking, like, not wanting to know more about her after your 1 year anniversary. Like, oh, okay, I guess I'll just fucking not listen to you anymore. So, to answer your question, I would resent a Witcher 4 that was Ciri's baby or something like that. I don't even really, honestly, I don't even like Ciri that much. She's pretty in The Witcher 3. Actually, in The Witcher 3, she is more interesting in The Witcher 3 than she is in the entire Witcher book series. She's not that interesting in The Witcher 3 series. Geralt and Regis and Yennefer are more, and Dandelion. Actually, Dandelion's really interesting in the series, in the book series. But in the games, he's forgotten. He's always a side character, when he's never a side character in the books. Ciri is a baby. She's like young as fuck in the book series. And she's really boring and uninteresting. She's like an angsty kid, and I'm like, I don't even like kids anyways. But, that's my opinion, of course. But like, she doesn't do anything dramatically exciting until baptism of fire in the book after, where she's in the desert by herself, and that was the best part of her entire arc. She's like teleports to the desert by herself on accident. She starts starving to death. She has no resources. She has no idea where she is. She's like in the middle of fucking nowhere. She doesn't even know she's on like her planet, you know?
Yeah.
And then she's like wandering around, dying. And then she kind of thinks she finds her way, and then her ass gets lost again. It's amazing. Like the arc is like, she thinks she figures it out. She uses fire magic, which is forbidden, and then she uses fire as like a source of energy instead of using like components or like the earth. So she fucking uses fire as the source, and then she starts like getting super powerful, and she's like, oh shit, I love this power. And then she gets crazy powerful. She loses everything, and then she finds herself under the same rock at the beginning of like the previous chapter, and she's like, motherfucker. And you're like, yeah, that's cool. And then that's the best part about her story. And then she kills some people with an ice skate, which is kind of cool too. But it's like also like, what was stupid about that is they didn't hint at that at all. So they like hinted at it the chapter before she does it, and you're like, that's not, that makes, she's been in 4 books already. What do you mean? Why are you going to introduce this now? Like, if she was into ice skating this whole time, then you could be like, oh, fuck, they're on a lake of ice. Oh, I bet Ciri's out there with a fucking ice skate. Nope. They just introduce it in chapter 6. You see the killing in chapter 7. It's like, it's super lame. So her arc is really lame. But Geralt is way more interesting in the books, where he, like, has deep personal struggles. He has a fault in his form now, so he was like in the games. There's nothing wrong with Geralt. Geralt's like, he doesn't even really struggle with anything internally besides trying to get Ciri and being frustrated by it. Other than that, he's just Geralt, like the strong, you know. But in the books, he is a badass. Everyone thinks he's like hot and sexy and fucking cool, and then he gets his ass whooped by someone he just did not prepare for. And this guy breaks his knee, and for the rest of the series, he cannot fucking walk normally. When it gets cold, he's like, fuck my knee, and he can't move. And a lot of times in the fights, he's starting to waver. And so, like, and this is kind of like a playback on his, like, personal psyche, not only on his physical, like, you know, debilitations. So the book is more fleshed out. So I would fucking hate if I had to hear about more bullshit side characters that don't matter, because the only side characters that matter are not side characters. It's like having a brother and a sister, and then you're the main character. Your brother and your sister should play an equal role, right? So, you know, Dandelion, Regis, Yennefer all play an equal role. Like, they all have, if anything, Yennefer's kind of back burner, because she's not always around. He's just there to like fuck her sometimes, and then like she gives him some wisdom, and they have like cutesy stuff back and forth, and that's about it, because he's always traveling. But Regis is always there for him. He's my fucking boy. He's the vampire. I love that guy. He's like way more entertaining to like read about. And then Dandelion's like the fucking comedy guru of the Witcher series, so like he's always around. That's like having Tasselhoff around in Dragonlance, or Katniss around in our campaign. It's like you gotta have a comedy relief, and they're always there. So I would fucking resent to have Ciri is bland. So then you're gonna have Ciri, and then you're gonna have Ciri's like daughter or something, or like a little boy, and then she's like, "Oh, I want him to be a Witcher too, but I'm gonna hide him from his heritage." And then that's the game. And then, you know, there's gonna be a bunch of it's gonna be like Horizon, where they have you play as a child who looks ugly. And then you're gonna play as a child for the first hour, get bored of that, and then there's gonna be adult version or teenage version, and then adult version or whatever. And then Ciri's probably gonna die from some shit, and then the character's gonna become like, oh, I unlocked my secret power, and then the game actually starts, and the title screen will come up, Witcher 4, and then it's like the next Witcher, and he becomes a Witcher. And I think the only thing that would make that cool is if you were like going through Witcher training, maybe, but that's about it.
It's a long way to say you'd probably hate it.
I think I would hate it. I'm pretty sure I would hate it. Because I would, no one cares about that stuff. Like, people latch on to characters because they're good. Don't make new characters that we have to That's like having Ezio, and then having some new motherfucker every fucking game. Why did we fall in love with Ezio? Like, Ezio was at least a character everyone can remember. Master Chief. Yeah, he's in every game. There's a fucking reason because we care about Master Chief. You know what game didn't do well? Halo 5, where you had to reintroduce a new motherfucker who's in the game, and you're like, why are they even fighting each other? And then when they end up fucking trying to eventually kill each other, they don't. So then I was like, okay, so why do I care? The Reach was the only other one that worked because it was telling a backstory. It was like a prequel to everything. So of course we care about a prequel. We want to know where shit comes from. And then all those characters were super lovable. That's why I have a huge statue over there of all the Reach characters.
Oh yeah, you do.
Yeah. Looks cool as hell. Sorry.
So
Ah!
I guess, how do you play a lot more story-based games than I do?
Well, look at me, man. Look at our D&D campaign. It's all story-driven. Story is everything. Like, do you want to go to work every single day, or do you want to live? You want to live because that's where the story is. There's not a lot of catalyst in working. There's more catalyst in living. So, like, you know, having these connections and stuff is everything to building your personal character, right? So,
do you think I'm talking about, like, dude, you play a lot of, like, The Witcher and Legend of Zelda, and man, I'm over here talking about Cookie Clicker, dog. Like, what do you think I'm talking about?
Cookie Clicker. No, I'm not saying, like, you know, I'm not saying you're worse. So I'm not devaluing you in any way, but
I was just kidding.
But yeah, man, I care about a story a little bit for sure.
Yeah.
Now look, the only game I don't super give a damn about in story is Dark Souls because it's lore driven.
I really like the style of lore in Dark Souls where it's not spoon-fed to you.
Yeah, I like that too. I just
out.
like that you have to get up and go, dude.
If you care about it, you can find it.
Yeah.
But you have to look.
Mm-hmm. I like that. And then there is a little bit of story, like when you get to meet Sigurd or someone like that, where you're like, oh man, like I'm kind of falling in love with Solaire or whatever. And then, you know, you see this tragic ending. Or in Dark Souls 3, when Sigurd is like, he kind of goes with you throughout the game. You keep finding him. You keep helping him out, just like in the first game. But then you take him to his final boss, being the giant, Yorm, and then he like defeats him. He fulfills his task and he dies peacefully. That's a good ending for like a little character. So there is still story development. There's still like characterization.
Yeah.
But overall, as your character, you're kind of like a shell. You're hollow, right? You're just like a shell of like, you know,
in that
for
game,
the lore of the overall, because you're not the main character, and I think that's kind of important to say.
In Dark Souls, you feel like a side character that's
in this bigger world of more important things, which is okay. I like that. Like Goblin Slayer's like that too. Have you seen Goblin Slayer?
Yeah.
The anime?
Yeah.
Yeah, where
a lot
like,
of people can't get past that first episode.
It's really rough. That first episode's brutal.
Yeah,
any kind of rape is brutal.
It doesn't really happen at all. But like,
no, it doesn't. They kind of hint at it later, like in the last 2 episodes, where they're trying to get more goblins out, so like raping people. It's pretty brutal. But the overall idea is that you are not the most important person in the world, but your contribution is important. Mm-hmm. So when they're showing like Goblin Slayer, you know, he's this guy who's really helping out the little people, like the farm, the people in town and stuff.
Yeah.
He becomes an important person to them. But the people who are saving the world are these other fucking super badasses that are somewhere else, which is totally fine because that story has been said already. We got Sword Art, we got fucking whatever, literally every shonen ever where they're fighting like the big fucking baddies. But it's important to show you, like Mushishi, that there are little people who need help. And the idea there is really unique and cool, where you're showing a lot with a little, and he's not really like, he doesn't have a lot of personality, and he's kind of like a Master Chief for like the little people, which is fucking sweet.
There's a whole like underlying narrative there as well in Goblin Slayer about because it's like it's pretty much based on D&D, and he's like I think it's something about autism, where it's like it's somebody who's playing, and they hyper focus on something. His thing is goblin slaying. And he always is in his armor because he's not showing his face. He doesn't come out of his shell really until the very end, when everybody's like, "Hey man, we accept you," and he finally realizes it, and he's just like, "Oh yeah, okay," and he comes out of his shell.
He takes the helmet off at the end, right? But you don't see his face.
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
But I know he takes his shell off.
Yeah, it's like Master
his
Chief.
helmet off, and everybody's like, "Damn, dude." I thought you were gonna look different.
Damn, you're fucking ugly. Put that helmet back on. Yeah. I didn't really think of it as being like a testament to autism, but that is interesting that it would be. There's something else that came out recently that was like an autistic thing, but I don't remember what it was.
I like that it can stand alone as like the kind of narrative that you were talking about as well.
Right.
It could stand in for either of those on their own.
Yeah.
One doesn't need the other, and you could come away with that show in either camp and still have understood the show.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I like that it has like a double meaning. That's cool. What's our
video games though?
Yeah, I was like, where are we going, dude?
Yeah, I don't know how we got to there. I
talked about The Witcher and Zelda and stuff. Yeah.
So, I, unpopular opinion, was not a very big fan of bigger console Zelda games. So I wasn't a huge fan of Ocarina of Time. I loved the Game Boy games.
I do love the Game Boy games.
The Game Boy
too.
games were the fucking tits, dude. I love that
puzzles,
shit.
bro.
And then I had like friends who were like, "Hey, you want to play Ocarina of Time?" I was like, "No, dog. I'm gonna play on fucking here. I don't care about you jumping around, throwing a fucking boomerang, locking on.
Sure,
shit.
it's cool though.
Fuck you, dude. I'm gonna like just push these boulders and fucking shit, dude. You don't even understand."
There was 100 times more puzzles in like the Game Boy ones, but you had to eat up more time with less space, of course.
And I just didn't like the games, not for any of the mechanics or any of the story or anything. I just didn't. It wasn't really my thing. But I did like that in games back then, and in Mario as well, and all the other like flagship games at the time, like all the like big cornerstones of gaming in that age. The games weren't so like you're it's like bowling with the guards up for kids.
The rails,
like
yeah.
Even if you go off a little bit, you're gonna bounce back and forth and stuff. It's like that's what games feel like now, kind of. In most of the time, but man, back in those days with like the old games, they didn't put that shit in there at all, and you had to like struggle sometimes to get to an accomplishment, and it felt great afterwards. We talked about this.
We did yesterday. In a car, yeah, or it was in the car when we were getting the pizza. Yeah. I think there's a balance. There's a balance in everything, but I think when you're trying to say that, like, not you specifically, but like Zelda, great example. I love the puzzles. I love that there's a very little hand holding, but there's a lot of stuff where they take the lack of hand holding too far, where it's I don't know what to fucking do. I don't know where to go, and you're like all over the place, and it's like, oh, sorry, you had to buy this thing from the shop and bring it to this guy on the other side of town, which then you had to take to the graveyard, which gave you like a fucking lantern to light the specific tree on fire, which would open up the gate to the next area. Great. How the fuck was I supposed to know that? Or you gotta burn the tree third from the right of 100 trees that are there. Like, I didn't how could I have known that? How?
Yeah.
So that's my beef. If you're gonna do like less hand holding, you have to justify the lack of hand holding. Mega Man is great about that. Mega Man X is excellent about that. Tomb Raider is excellent about that too. Early Dark Souls is really any Dark Souls is like that, where it's like you are totally free to like roam around and you'll get it, because the first few enemies are super like beatable and Demon Souls, and I've been wanting to make a video. I have all the footage for Demon Souls, but Demon Souls is excellent like that. They have a tutorial area if you choose to, but if you choose not to, you are equally fine, because the first several enemies are like these little peasant guys who won't kill you in one hit, but they can kill you if you're not careful. There's very few of them. And then next enemies are these little knights that aren't fully clad. They're like little leather knights that are like there's like one, and then there's two, and then there's two, and then there's three. And then they show you the firebomb. And they throw the firebomb, and you get hit by that almost inevitably on the stair set. You get hit by that firebomb, and you're like, oh, fuck, that hurt. And I should have been paying attention. My surroundings are important. Then you go kill those guys, and you collect the firebomb. And then you'll fight the Silver Knights and stuff upstairs. You'll fight the first Blue-Eyed Knight, and if you stray from the path to go discover shit on your own, you'll find a Red-Eyed Knight who's guarding some good shit. And if you kill him, you realize he drops a lot of souls, but he's really tough. So then You keep going. You'll do more of that formula. And then you fight new versions of the knights with the pikes. Then you'll find the dragons. So it means that this world's a little more tough. And there are bigger things in this world that are roaming around that you should be aware of.
Than just other dudes.
Yeah, instead of just a bunch of dudes, right? And then that teaches you about world tendency in the future. Because the dragons leave if your tendency is higher. And then you get the purple flame shield and stuff. Okay, full circle. Just before you fight Phalanx, on the stair set down to open the gate, you will fight 2 or 3 Phalanx copies. You'll find these like little Phalanx ones that have a shield on the face with a spear in the front. You will likely kill them. So then you're going to fight them, kill them, and then you fight the first boss. In that same hallway with the little Phalanx guys are dudes with torches that show you that there is fire as an element that can be wielded. They'll throw the fire bombs at you that you've collected already. So you'll go, okay, can I use that myself? Okay, so you'll fight the Phalanx guys, and then you'll go fight Phalanx, the boss of the first area. Mm-hmm. Inevitable, a mandatory boss. You must go to the Kingdom of Boletaria. It is the first fucking level, right? You fight the first boss, and then you'll fight Phalanx. Which is Phalanx, the first boss is, who is very weak to fire, and who spouts off, like he duplicates himself in those little Phalanxes with the shield on the front and the spear on the side, just like the first area. That's how it's done. If you're not gonna give them a tutorial, have them press A for this and that, show them all the shit on the ground where it's like, do this to roll, do this to blah blah, and it's all there, but it's really subconscious. Mega Man X was the same way, where they show you like, oh, you're stuck, what are you going to do? And you start jumping on the wall, and you're like, oh my god, I can wall jump? They didn't have to tell you that. You just would have figured it out, because you're going to be curious as a gamer.
Yeah.
Like, simple shit, dude.
Back to mobile games, I fucking hate mobile game tutorials where they lock the screen and put the big old fucking hand on there pointing at something, and you can push nothing but that. And you have to do that. And you have to spend like 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes on this fucking tutorial as they're like, do you see down here where it says story? This is where you go to do the story. Yeah. Click here. And you're like, I don't want to do the story. I want to do the fucking... You just gave me like 1,000 fucking gems, and I want to do the multi-summon to get a fucking cool-ass...
Yeah.
I want to appreciate the artwork. And it's like, go do the story with the characters that we gave you. And it's like, those characters suck, dude. Just fucking let me do my thing.
Azure Lane...
No option.
Azure Lane was like that. Huge tutorial, makes you play some bullshit story, forces you to lock in with these like 2 really boring... not so cute characters. And then when you realize that you're not like locked into that, you realize they give you a tutorial for shit that you're not even gonna like be using all the time. You're like, great, so you gave me a 20-minute tutorial, and then I still have to ask my friends who are nearby, like, hey man, you play Azure Lane, what am I supposed to do with these? And he's like, oh duh, this. Great, the tutorial didn't tell me that. So even though you had a 20-minute tutorial, you missed the important shit. Whatever.
Yeah, that's the over restrictive tutorials bug me. I like figuring shit out. If there's like what you were saying with Mega Man, where they like put you up to the wall and it's like, oh well, where are you gonna go now?
Yeah.
And then you're just like, I don't know, I can't go backwards. It's not a hidden ladder. Let's try jumping up against the wall. Oh shit, I can jump. Wall jump.
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Like that kind of stuff is really cool, and I may be just real rebellious, like at heart, where it's like whenever I'm told explicitly to do something, there's a big part of me. It's not even a little part in the back of my head. It's like a big part of me is like, nah, dude, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, like when we were playing Human Fall Flat, and I was like, "Excuse for babies," and I went around, and I didn't do any of the shit for that area. I like cheesed the game and like broke out of it, and then like went over and skipped like 3 different puzzles.
They're very accommodating for.
They're okay. Kind of they like that though. Like they built it so there was a bunch of different ways to, do things, which I like.
Yeah. It's like here's
because we almost got that one puzzle with the plank, and I was like, oh, I'll just use the door plank, and you put like a bucket on top, and that'll weigh it down. We could run over the plank. But they wanted you to cut the tree down, but we almost had it with the plank. We just didn't try hard enough. We were just like, oh, we could cut the tree down. Might as well cut the tree down.
My attention kept getting brought back to that little ledge because I was like, there's something that looks like it's within reach, and you can get up there. I don't know what's up there, but it looks like you can get up there.
Yeah.
And I want to get up there.
And it was like, if you wanted to explore the whole tree option, which they gave you a little hint by having like a slash in it,
Yeah, I didn't even see that before the axe.
I didn't either. As soon as you said axe and you said, can we cut down the tree? I saw the tree with the slash, and I was like, damn.
And then the punk ass controls on how to actually cut the tree down.
Yeah, where
We
it's
were
like
just
hitting it flat.
slapping it.
Yeah, it sounds just like the pipe sound did too. It's like doom, doom.
Just slapping a tree with an axe.
With like a fucking shitty little physics that they have in that game.
Yeah, but it's still so fun because you have to like. There's not really hand holding in that game. There's hand holding, but that's only when you do it to other people.
Yeah, literal hand holding.
Like when I run past you and grab you and jump off a ledge.
You fucker, yeah. There isn't. I think in the very first area, but they teach you how to climb really early on, which is nice.
Yeah.
And they make a whole area for climbing. It's like you're gonna get good at this, so get good at it now. Because if you weren't as good at climbing as I am in this game, you wouldn't be able to break the game like I do. Where I'm like, oh yeah, I'll climb up on this pole, then I'll jump up on this wall, and I'll move this thing over here to jump over this, so I don't have to do the puzzle. Yeah, which is still me doing a puzzle. You are still doing a puzzle by
like
breaking the puzzle.
At that point,
it's just I'm just like, I'm not doing the button pressing puzzle. I'm doing a problem solving instead.
Yeah. It's like instead of taking door A to go to door B to go to door C, you're like, well, I'm going to go over there to door, 3, and that's going to take me all the way to door G.
Yeah.
We're good, man.
Yeah. We're still problem solving, which is, kind of the point of the game, I guess. Nope, I was going to say something, but now I forgot.
But I think a lot of games these days, lack the challenge that I like. Everything seems very, you click start, you do the routine, you're done. Good job, buddy. And it's like there was nothing in there that was giving me
you
a
could just
challenge.
press X the whole time to do everything. But Arkham Knight, you can do that in fucking Assassin's Creed.
Yep.
Even in in The Witcher, you could just parry a bunch of times, and as long as you're hitting the parry button, Sekiro, for a chunk of Sekiro, you just spam the parry button, and you're just like bam, 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 bam. It doesn't.
Dark Souls, you can't. You spam the parry button and people just look at you like you're an idiot. then
if you spam the attack button, it's gonna kill you.
Oh yeah,
it's gonna wait and it's gonna parry your shit while you're getting attacked, and then it'll get a huge hit on you, or it's gonna fucking do something nasty,
Yeah,
and some things don't have a lot of things have high poise. So if you're hitting it, they don't fall over or whatever, and they're just resilient to it. Yeah.
You don't move over, or they don't knock you as hard as you think you're going to.
Yeah, you don't knock them as hard. Yeah. What's your point? What's your resolve?
I don't know, man. I just have a lot of problems with games these days. Mostly mobile games. Partially with people getting lazy with making their games, just sticking to the same formula, pretty. Oh man, Fallout 4 and their I love Fallout 76. I guess that's another unpopular thing. Is it was super buggy when it came out, but I love Fallout 76. I like the idea of it. It's not very handholdy. I didn't do the main mission, the start mission where you're supposed to go, you're supposed to find the Overseer's camp and then follow that around and stuff. I didn't do that until I had 300 hours in the game.
Oh my gosh.
I ran out there, got that first Overseer camp, then we were like, oh fuck dude, let's go kill those fucking ghouls roaming around down there. Is there a city over there? Let's go hang out at that city. Cool. And then we just made our way across the map, playing, figured out everything in the game. And then it's oh shit, I guess we could just go around looking for the Overseer's logs. I haven't been to the luscious green part of the game forever. I've just been over here in the fucking red part the whole time. The fucking I forgot all the names of the cities, but the city that's run by robots and stuff. You spend so much time there. You can sink so much time in anywhere that you don't have to follow any quests. And I like the option of doing that. And there's not really a main quest to it. But the game is literally just, they use the same engine and everything from Fallout 4. Why not take the chance to improve? That's what they said they were going to do, was improve on it. But they just kind of shit out a game with it was essentially a multiplayer Fallout 4 with a new map. That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
It's kind of disappointing. While I like the game, it's very disappointing that game developers are doing this stuff.
Yeah.
It just feels really cheap, like they don't care about it anymore. There's no passion to it.
I don't necessarily think that there is, because I think when we start trying to put I don't want to say a moral value, but like, if you want game developers to care, I think that's a little far-fetched in a thought, because you have to remember we live in a monetary system where corporatocracy is like wins. So if it works and they're gonna make money off it, they don't give a fucking damn if you think it's amazing or not. If they're making money, like, they're just gonna keep doing it. Assassin's Creed, Call of Duty,
that's true.
Battlefield, fucking help me out, fucking any other like that.
No, I'm just gonna let you do it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, any game that has like a yearly release is going to not give a whole lot of shit about you. I don't think so. But someone like FromSoft, someone who takes hard feedback, like was a Shinji Megami, who made like Resident Evil and Evil Within. He made a huge turnaround on Evil Within 2. Actually listening to like fans' feedback and stuff. The game, I think little niche companies like that tend to make a huge turnaround and actually listen, take feedback in, or really try. Nintendo being like the overall always succeeding in that way, where they always want to take people's feedback. I think the only one where they're really like dropping the ball might be Paper Mario or Mario Party, because I think they've kind of lost what makes Mario Party so good, is the competition aspect instead of the togetherness aspect. But I do admire that they're trying to get us to like be more friendly, which is nice. But they're counteracting it with Smash, where we're a toxic group of people who are all so furious at each other for kicking each other's asses.
Two of the nicest people play Smash against each other, and they're going to be talking shit.
Yeah, and then at the end of it, they might hate each other. It's just like when I play Yu-Gi-Oh against Kaylee. I might be winning.
I've heard that she's been kicking.
Oh my fucking god, dude! I played Yu-Gi-Oh the other day, man. I got her to 4,600 HP in one turn, and I was like, "You're fucked next turn if you don't draw into a card." And she heart of the cards, drew into a card, and beat me. And I had like, and beat me in like 3 more turns. But the next turn, she hit me for like, 3,600 damage. And then I dropped a big ass boss monster on the field. And then she threw this hand trap that regains your HP from my boss monster's attack. And I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So then she went back up to like 6,700. And I was like, shit. And so I got her back down to 4,600, so I was really close to like beating her. I got her to like maybe 3,200 by the end of the duel, and she beat me. And I was like, and my Shadal deck is nearly unbeatable. It's so good. I have like a 75% chance of winning.
But she just ran train on you.
She ran train on me with this new deck that she has that's like a mermaid deck that's like these frogs and these like mermaids that just kick my ass. I was like, fuck. So good. And in Magic the Gathering, a mermaid deck is really good too, apparently. So something about the mermaids, man. But she and my Shadal deck is like tier 1. Like it's like a meta deck almost. Like I made it my own. It's not like based on what other people want you to do online. Like a lot of people want you to run like build, these like a Psy-frame build. They want you to build with these like other monsters, but the synergy that my current deck has is so fucking good. Like if I draw into anything, I'm like, I got this shit. Only time I would be really fucked, which would be a really low percent, is if I drew into 5 fusion cards. I could pull a Shadal fusion, erase Shadal. I could fucking pull into a super poly, and I could draw 2 or 3 extras of each of those cards, because I run 3 of like a bunch of cards. So if I fucking drew into 3, I'd be like, fuck, 3 Shadal fusions. What's the next one? Fucking super poly, no. And then I draw into another one, and it's like fucking a trap card. I'd be like, game, I'm gonna lose next turn. And then my luck is I would draw another fusion card. I'd be like, fuck. But with all those fusion cards in there, I'm like always at an advantage almost, because I can always make boss monsters. And then, man, you get super poly on the field. Don't fuck with super poly. I roll 2 of those now. Fuck. You can discard a card and you can fusion with their monster. So you're like, cool, I only got 1 monster. But discard Super Poly. I'm gonna use your monster as fusion material, which means I didn't destroy the card because a lot of them are like can't be destroyed by battle or by card effect. Bitch, it's Super Poly. It's not a destroy. I'm using it as material, so it's a tribute, which isn't destroyed, but it is sent to the graveyard. It's all about wording, and they're like, fuck.
Yeah.
And I fucking use your material. I now got a boss monster on the field, and now I'm gonna attack your life points directly, unless you got something to say about that. But I got Twin Twister, so I'm gonna discard again. I'm gonna pop your 2 back row. You're empty. 3,600 life points, and they're like, fuck, bro. It's so good like that. But then Kaylee will be like, okay, and she's like already frustrated. She's like, fuck, and she'll draw, and she's just like, okay. So then she'll start slamming down, and then she'll win. So, man, I mean, the Shadal deck is awesome, but you never underestimate the heart of the cards, because you can draw some shit that will end the game. Because Kaylee has had, like, 6 monsters on the field with her Ghost Trick deck, which sucks ass, and you're like, fuck. And then you draw a Regeki, which clears the enemy's side of the monster field. So it's like, destroy all monsters on your enemy's field, and you're like, Regeki? She's like, fuck. And she might be like MST, and you're like, MST, you're MST? And she's like, fuck. And then you get a Regeki, and you
I do that shit.
Fucking
D&D.
Yeah, fucking spell counter. Counterspell, yeah. And I'm
gonna counterspell it. I'm gonna counterspell your counterspell. Okay, well then where are we at?
I guess we're back to square one.
Yeah,
Regeki then.
He's a fucking boss monster, so he's gonna just cast it. So fuck you.
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. It feels amazing. To play Yu-Gi-Oh, and it kind of feels, I don't know where we're going with this. I could talk about Yu-Gi-Oh for a while. It's really fun. We played yesterday, and it was just a blast. Or the day before yesterday.
So,
yeah, not yesterday.
It's curious to me because, so when you play with your wife, and she's like getting upset that you're winning, or she's like not having fun, and then like she gets something where it's like, oh, this is the turnaround. Do you see like little spark light back up?
Yep.
My Kaylee doesn't do that. We were playing like
she doesn't, but she doesn't like laugh or anything. She just has like a gleam in her eyes of hope.
No, my Kaylee doesn't even do that. My Kaylee, we'll be playing like fucking Risk or something like Scrabble, even, just like a dumb little game. We'll be playing, and she gets upset. She's like, I'm tired of this. I don't want to play this anymore. I'm tired of getting like you're like beating the crap out of me, and I'm like, we're not even like halfway through the game. Just keep playing. Stop being upset about it. And so we keep playing, and she starts whooping my ass, but she's still like, I'm just sick of this shit. I'm done. I'm tired of this. Whatever. I throw this down, you lose. I win. Whatever. I'm done. And it's like, God damn, like you weren't even happy that you won.
That's kind of sad. I kind of get that though, because like the weighted defeat, like, it might still carry over,
Yeah.
It's like pity sex. It's like you still won, but like you lost. It's like
I don't have any empathy with that one. I've never had pity sex.
It's so funny. I mean, that's exactly what that is. It's exactly like pity sex, where it's like, I need it, and you'll get it.
That's
but
like,
it's not a real win, because you didn't stomp it out, It was just given to you. And even if she did earn it, it might still feel like that,
She'll turn around and stomp my ass.
Kaylee does that all the time, but she's very calm about it. She's really sweet
beat
about
the shit out of me, and then still be sour at the end of the game. Like, no gleam of like, suck it, idiot, I won. There's nothing.
Kaylee doesn't do that, but there's hope.
All right, let's put the game up. I want to stop.
Yeah,
and it's like, I'm not playing this again.
I don't see Kaylee quit too often. I have to win more than 2 times for her to quit, and I gotta win bad. I gotta win like fucking real bad. Like the other day, she won both the duels, but the first duel I easily would have won with my Shadal deck, because she did nothing for 4 turns. But I was also playing a really slow deck that I didn't really understand. I was playing that Trickstar deck that takes a little more effort to like put in, and then I played a Valkyrie deck, which takes just as much effort to put in sometimes, because you might draw some shit. So I drew shit on both turns, or on both duels. If I played with my Shadal deck, it would have been game. It would have been game day, like turn 1, because there are turn 1s. Would have been turn 2, because I would have gone first. But like, I drew into some shit when I played the Shadal deck on round 3, and I was like, oh man. And I like kind of smiled. I was like, I couldn't have drawn a better hand. And then I fucking got the nastiest hand out. And then I immediately had like a window on the field, which prevents special summonings. You can only do one. And then I had a fucking Decode Talker, which is like a 3,300 attack monster. And then it can get up to 3,500 attack. And you're like, and then no one could ever run over it because he's so strong. And you could just tribute a monster to negate effects and stuff. So he's really good. And then every time I get a Decode Talker on the field, Kaylee just gets upset. My point is that sometimes it's about like opportunity. And I think if I would have ran a different deck, it would have been different. But then she would have quit. Because she doesn't like outright just like throw a hissy fit. But she'll be like, I'm going to go take a shower. And she just needs to cool off. And it's so inefficient for me to be like, good game. You know, that was really fun, blah, blah. But like I fucking crushed her. Now I think for the both of us, it's like 50-50. So it doesn't really happen too much where we get upset. I get a little upset because I think I'm going to win. And it's almost certain that I'm going to win. Like I'll win next turn. Like the other day, she had 600 life points, and she beat me. And I was like, from 8,000 life points. So she had 8,000. I got her down to 600 in like 2 turns. And I was like, I'm going to win next turn if you don't pull this around. And she fucking won. I couldn't get the extra 600. I was like desperate. I was like, oh my God, fuck, I need to get this done. I gotta poke you with one more. Any monster in my deck would kill her with one hit. I couldn't get her open. So you can't just throw the match thinking you're gonna win. That's where we're gonna end it. Because you can't throw the match if you think you're gonna win. You gotta stay focused. Keep your eye on the ball, bro. You didn't win yet.
Get out there,
dude. So to come full circle on this, I was playing Call of Duty the other day on Search and Destroy.
Yeah.
I'm playing with some stranger, and this fucking guy were 4. I think it's 4 and 2 on Search, and he was like, man, and he was talking this shit, and he was like, yeah, he was talking this shit, and he was like, yeah, man, y'all fucking suck. On my team, he was talking shit to the other team, and he was like, yeah, man, y'all fucking suck. Y'all suck shit. Y'all never gonna beat us. We're so fucking good, bro. Y'all need to go home, cry to your mamas or whatever. And I was like, so it got back to our team, right, where it's just team chat. And I was like, hey, man, don't talk shit to the other team until we have won. Never, ever talk shit to the other team until we're 6. Well, you see that score at 6, bro. That means we won. Don't talk shit otherwise. And he was like, man, you know we got this. We're 4 and 2 right now. We're going to fucking win. We lost. It's a 4 and 6. And I was like, I fucking told you, bro. I was like, remember when I said that shit earlier? You never, ever celebrate until you win.
Yeah, when that pendulum starts swinging back the other way, it swings hard.
It swings hard. Sometimes it's a fucking wrecking ball instead of a pendulum, dude. And then you get hit.
you send it over like a pendulum, but it comes back a wrecking ball.
Yeah.
Because they caught it. They cut it off, attached the wrecking ball, and just went, you ready? And just swung it back.
Yeah, they fucking crushed us immediately after he started talking shit. So you know what? There's a lesson, man. Never give up until you know for sure you've won. That's like when you're in track. Don't slow down before the finish line. Slow down after the finish line.
That motherfucker 2 steps behind you
isn't
slowing down.
No, he ain't slowing down at all, bro. So don't talk shit till you win.
I got this. Hands out.
Yeah, he'll throw a fucking blue shell at you. Yeah. Don't give up until you win.
Yeah.
That's not the overall theme for this podcast, but
no, it got there.
It got there. Fucking that's good advice though. Solid advice. Come here for solid advice 1 hour and like 30 minutes in.
Yeah. Don't have too much bravado going in, even if you're about to win. Because you could just ignite a fire on the other side where they're like,
600 HP.
This motherfucker.
600 HP, bro. 8,000 to 600 life points, bro. They can come back. Don't celebrate to get that last hit. Even then, make sure they don't have a mirror force. Don't fuck with a mirror force.
All right.